Court is in session in cause number 331278. Case is filed in the state of Texas versus Angel Fraga. Mr. Fraga, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Fraga, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Fraga, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Mr. Fraga, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Fraga?
How about you, sir?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Fraga, you here represented by your attorney Willard Hall. Attorney Hall, how are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you for this.
That's good. And the state is represented by Attorney Kathleen Nelson. Attorney Nelson, again, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Judge.
Mr. Fraga, I have before me an information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. This information alleges that on or about October 24th of 2021, while you are operating a motor vehicle in a public place in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed to Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Second, I see here, state, are you waiving the enhancement paragraph?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Fraga, what that means is the state is waiving the enhancement paragraph, and that means that this offense has been reduced from a Class A misdemeanor DWI to a Class B misdemeanor DWI. Okay,
Yes, sir.
and oh, you gotta sign the box here, the DWI, Class B DWI.
Sorry about that.
It's right below Class B.
I think I did not check that.
You checked just Class B, but the other one is the paragraph for Class B for DWI specifically,
Okay,
because the range of punishment is a little different. Okay, thank you. Now, Mr. Fraga, oh, wait, you got both of them checked. You don't need, it's kind of like they contradictory. You gotta erase the one at the top. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now, Mr. Fraga, I have before me a document that is titled, well, first of all, Mr. Fraga, the state is reducing this case to a Class B DWI, and the range of punishment for Class B DWI is confinement in jail for at least 72 hours, but not to exceed 180 days. A fine not to exceed $2,000 of both such fine and confinement. Do you understand the range of punishment for Class B DWI?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Fraga, to this offense, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Guilty? Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Freely, you look guilty.
You're guilty, okay. Now, Mr. Fraga, I have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Fraga, there are a set of initials on a line next to a box that's checked guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, Mr. Fraga, that is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is that your signature on the line that's titled
Yes,
Defendant?
sir.
There are 2 boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
I understand, sir.
And the second box states that you're waiving your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Y'all have that discovery certification?
You have a printout.
You should.
discovery certification attachment. Here, you just need to click a couple more things. Click on that printer. Then click print, and then it should come out. This is,
We're gonna get attachment all.
this print.
Yeah, just get at the Willet. She has the, exit. Yes, she has it.
It's everything. We're all places.
Just ready to let you have it on you.
Well, plus the corporate, plus the 2 days jail credit, so I'm not sure how he's gonna do that, but we have cash in hand today, so whatever the balance is, we're ready to take. Good. And I'll initial. So you learn every day, we can be trained.
Six one.
6-1. No, I'll tell you when I'm out in a few minutes.
Is this the upper body day?
No. I was in the chair for 5 hours yesterday, my whole arm raw.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay, now, Mr. Fraga,
No joke.
I have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Fraga, prior to signing and initialing all of these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Fraga, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir. Yes,
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer States 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
no objection.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Hall, you've advised and counseled Mr. Fraga. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Fraga, your attorney, Mr. Hall, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Mr. Fraga, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
It's to a DWI first, 90 days, over 1 year, 755
Okay,
interlock, 50 community service requirement, DWI ed, and the alcohol and assessment.
oh, you just have to print off a different, this,
It's not the current cost of that,
you talking about on the, discovery.
the audit report.
What's the case number?
339-279.
I'll get it right now.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Fraga, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail because you will be placed on probation for a period of 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you will be required to pay a fine of $750 plus court costs. The fine and court costs totals $1,172. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. Your total monthly installments, that is, the total amount that you would have to pay each month while you're on probation, is $185. Will you be able to pay the $185 each month?
Yes.
You'll also be required to perform 50 hours of community service. You had on here, you have a 10 of drug education.
Yes, it's alcohol.
No. I think what she did, I think she put, that's in there, but this one's supposed to be in there. Okay. Okay, so Mr. Frogger, you'll be required to install the DWI interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate. You'll attend and complete a DWI education class and have an alcohol assessment. And the state has waived the enhancement paragraph. So this is a DWI first, not a DWI second. You also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of your probation. Mr. Frogger, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Frogger, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Frogger, you're gonna stand on the X next to your attorney. You're gonna follow the directions of our,
Your Honor,
yeah.
he wanted to know if you could grant him any kind of relief. He's already had an interlock device on his car since October, since the time of his arrest.
Well, I mean, he had a DWI second reduced to a DWI first. I mean, if you wanna,
I just
I mean,
asking.
no, I mean, yeah, I mean, he got a break on that.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. You're gonna stand on the X and follow the directions of our court clerk. Leslie Perkins.
Mr. Hall,
May I reach out?
Actually, I think it's on the information. No, I think it's on the information. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. It was probably listed on there.
Hmm?
It was probably listed.
Yeah, just hold on. I'm Court is in session in cause number 326-562. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Leslie Perkins.
Leslie.
Okay, Mr. Perkins. Okay, the case is styled the state of Texas versus Leslie, Lesie.
Leslie. That's correct. Leslie.
I've got Leslie on my docket, but there's also an AKA of Leslie, Judge. I don't know how the court wishes to. proceed.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's gonna come out as Leslie.
Without an L.
Leslie is his name.
I'm
Yeah.
okay with a trial with the court of interlineating the name or amending the name.
I wonder how that's gonna come out on the judgment though. Hold on a minute.
You've never went by any other name. He thought it was funny, surprising that I.
Okay, this is cause number 330526, case of style of state of Texas versus the Coleman. Mr.
Yes,
Coleman, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
All right, how you doing, Mr. Coleman?
All right.
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Coleman, you're here represented by your attorney, Attorney James Padgett. Attorney Padgett, what's your announcement to Mr. Coleman's
Your Honor,
case?
this is technically the third prosecutor I've dealt with on this case, so in all fairness to her, if you would give me 30 to 45 days so I could sit down with her. I've been negotiating with other prosecutors and, obviously this is the first time she's had to really look at the case. I
Okay,
think we can work this case out. I just need some time to sit down with her
okay,
specifically.
give us a reset date. Okay, this case is gonna be reset to July 27th,
I see no problem. I just
2022.
I need to sit down with her.
Mr. Padgett, you can get your reset. Once you get your reset, I think this is your last case. You're free to go and you have a
And
blessed
I do
day.
have all discovery, so there'll be no holdups.
Okay, now, Mr. Coleman, just, you stand over there on the X with your attorney, get your reset. Once you get your reset, you're free to go and you have a blessed day.
We'll see you soon. Thanks, Ms. Nelson.
Thank you.
Elise Ballard. There you go.
She has a kid. Someone be able to watch her. Watch the kid.
Yeah, I'm looking at the, hold on a minute. Ballard.
Trying to get all this stuff together. Thank you.
The information is saying one thing, and the information is saying attempt to elude.
I think we
The
had-
paperwork is saying elude.
yeah, we had that problem before, George. It's the way they do it in intake. I don't know why. Yeah, we've been down that road before.
545. 221. 545.
They will see it.
Attempts to elude. It's still class B. Let's see. Except as offense under this section is class B. Or attempts to elude. Attempt to elude. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well,
Is it played in the
hold on.
disjunctive
Let me
or
see.
in the
Yeah,
conjunctive?
Create,
Judge?
let me see. Vehicle that willingly fails or refuse to bring the vehicle to stop. Or, okay, okay.
Is it or?
Yeah, I see what they did. They actually, they just, yeah, it's in the conjunctive. They played fleeing or attempting to elude.
Okay.
That's the way they played it. And the paperwork comes out here, fleeing or attempt to elude. It's just that the caption of the information says attempt to elude, but that's not an issue.
Determinative. My
Right.
understanding of the case law is that the
That-
caption
Yeah, yeah,
Attorney and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, that would be surplusage, I guess
Yes,
you
sir.
would call it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. This is just we're just trying to get it straight. Some legal technicalities, okay. All right, so it's planned like the, as it's written in the transportation code, article 545.421. Okay. Let's go. Okay. This is cause number 330910, case of style of state of Texas versus Elise. Is that Elise or Alize? Alize? Okay. Alize M. Ballard. Now, Ms. Ballard, is that your full name?
Yes, it is.
Okay, Ms. Ballard, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Ballard, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay, you may put your hand down. How you doing, Ms. Ballard?
I could be good.
Okay, it could be worse, and it's a good thing that you're not worse than you're doing pretty good. Okay, okay, that's good. We hope that you'll be feeling better later on. All right. Now, Ms. Ballard, your attorney of record is attorney Terrence Allison. Attorney Allison is not here standing in for attorney Allison, is attorney Marivius Allen. Does attorney Allen have your permission to stand in for attorney Allison?
Yes, he does.
Okay. And Mr. Allen, how are you doing?
How are you?
All right. Now, Mr. Allen, do you waive a record in Ms. Ballard's case?
Yes.
And the state is represented by attorney Tommy Coleman. Attorney Coleman, how are you doing?
Good, John.
That's good. Now, Ms. Ballard, I have before me an information that alleges that on or about August 9th of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, you was charged with the offense of fleeing or attempt to elude. Do you understand what you've been charged with?
I guess so. Fleeing or attempt to elude?
Right, that's the charge.
Yeah, that's my first time hearing the attempt for it.
Yes. Now, to this charge, Ms. Ballard, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
Now, are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
Ms. Ballard, I also have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor plea admonishment. Do you recognize this document?
I can't see.
Okay, could you show that to your client? Do you recognize that document?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this here. I'm gonna have you I'll just let you keep this document. You can just go to the next page. Okay. On the next page of that same document, Ms. Ballard, there are a set of initials that's
You did.
on a line that's next to a box that says check guilty. Are those your initials?
That is my initial.
On the next page of that same document, there's a signature at the top above the line that is titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes.
Now, on the next document that is titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, there's a signature at the bottom above the line that is titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes.
Now, did you check two boxes or one box at the top?
Two.
Two, okay. Now, there are two boxes that's checked at the top of that document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Right.
The second box check states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, do you have that discovery certification? You can show that to us too. Now, Ms. Ballard, there's the next document is titled discovery certification. Do you recognize that document?
Yes.
And is that your signature above the line that is titled defendant? Now, Ms. Ballard, prior to signing and initialing all of these documents that I have just read, that I've just explained to you, did your attorney, Mr. Allen, go over these documents with you? And did you read and understand everything that he went over? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Ms. Ballard, are you a citizen of the United States?
I am.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State 1?
Yes, Your Honor, state officer, state law.
Any objections, Mr. Allen?
Okay.
Okay, no objections. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Allen, you advised that counsel, Ms. Ballard, is there any evidence that she is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Judge.
Ms. Ballard, your attorney, Mr. Allen, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
And your attorney of record, Mr. Allison, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
I didn't hear what you said.
Okay, Mr. Allison, who is your attorney of record, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation? You have to speak up.
Yes.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Ballard, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
In exchange for the defendant's plea of guilty in this case, the state's recommending that the court defer a finding of guilt in this case and place the defendant on community supervision for a period of 12 months, assess a $700 fine in order that she perform 40 hours of community service restitution in addition to the standard conditions of probation.
Well, you need to, before you tell me, you can confer with your attorney.
40 hours. Oh, there's no way. I don't have no babysitter that I can do community service at all.
Okay, the court is in session in cause number 330764, case of style, the state of Texas versus Mickey B. Montadon or Mickey Bernard Montadon the second. Mr. Montadon is appearing via Zoom. Mr. Montadon, you could take your mic off of mute. Now, Mr. Montadon, how are you doing?
Doing well yourself?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for being patient with us this morning, Mr. Montadon. Mr. Montadon, your attorney is attorney Ryan Gertz. And attorney Gertz, how are you doing?
I'm great, Judge. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, I saw you looking down. I was giving you time to read what you was reading. Okay, Mr. Gertz, do you have an announcement that you'd like to make in Mr. Montadon's case?
Yes, Judge. I would like the opportunity, I think, to confer with the prosecutor about this. We think we can get this resolved, and we just need to find the right parameters under which to get it resolved. If we could maybe have 30 or 60 days.
Okay, so you need 60?
60 would be
Okay,
great.
give us a 60-day reset. August 3rd? Okay, this case is gonna be reset August 3rd of 2022. Mr. Montadon, your attorney and your bondsman will be given notice of your reset date, August 3rd, 2022 at 9 a.m. County Court at Law Number 2, Jefferson County, Texas. Stay in contact with your attorney and your bondsman. This will conclude your case. You're free to go, and you have a blessed day. And again, thanks for being patient with us. And Mr. Gertz, I think this is the only case that you have. You're free to go as well.
Thank you, Judge.
Oh, you signed for your reset, and once you get your reset, you're free to go and you have a blessed day.
I'll do it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Court is back in session in cause number 330-910. Case is filed, State of Texas versus Alize M. Ballard. We have Ms. Ballard, who's here with attorney Marivius Allen. Ms. Ballard previously entered a plea of guilty to the charge of fleeing or attempt to elude. Ms. Ballard was previously sworn in. Ms. Ballard acknowledged that her signatures and initials was on State's Exhibit Number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. She also acknowledged that her signature was on the trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal. She acknowledged that her signature was on the trial court's, discovery certification. She also acknowledged that prior to signing and initialing those documents, her attorney, Mr. Allen, went over those documents with her. She read it and understood everything in those documents, and everything in those documents true and correct to the best of her knowledge. Mr. Allen acknowledged that there is no evidence that Ms. Ballard is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial. And Ms. Ballard also acknowledged that the services of Mr. Allen and Mr. Allen's son, they provided competent and full effective legal representation, and she was satisfied with their representation. Mr. Coleman, could you repeat the state's offer in this case?
Yes, Your Honor. In exchange for the defendant's plea of guilty in this case, state's asking that the court defer a finding of guilt, place her on community supervision for a period of 12 months, order that she pay a $700 fine, and that she perform 40 hours of community service restitution in addition to the standard conditions of probation.
Okay. Now, Ms. Ballard, the state is offering that you serve 12 months deferred adjudicated probation. During that 12-month probationary period, the state is offering that you pay a fine of $700 plus court costs of $357, which comes to a total of fine and court costs of $1,057. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee. Miss, could y'all give me a affidavit? You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You'll also be required to reimburse the court-appointed attorney's fees of $250. Now, the total monthly installments in this case is $195 per month. Ms. Ballard, will you be able to pay the $195 per month? Ms. Ballard, will you be able to pay the $195 per month? If you sure? I mean, I'm not looking at, I just be truthful with me. You're under, just remember you're under oath. I just need to know whether or not you will pay it, you can or you cannot pay it. Hmm? Just answer the question. We'll get to that question. If you, will you be able to pay the $195 per month? You will? Okay. So, you also be required to perform, let me see this here. This must have changed, I guess. Okay, yeah, okay, this must have, yeah, okay, this, well, I was just looking at an affidavit of indigence that was signed back in, oh, it's back in November of 2021. Are you currently working? Okay, at this time you weren't working. Okay. Okay, okay. Now, Ms. Ballard, you'll also be required to perform 40 hours of community service, and you'll also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this probation. Ms. Ballard, do you understand the state's
Yes.
offer? Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
No,
And why do you don't think it's fair and just?
because I just lost somebody close to me and it's not okay. I'm not okay. I can't just be paying that money and I pay my rent by myself.
Okay, I asked you if you could, my question earlier was, will you be able to pay the $195 per month?
So yes,
Oh, so you will, but now you're saying you can't.
you said, do I think it's fair? I said, no.
You don't think it's fair because you have to pay.
The $195,
That's the amount that you have to pay per month. What happens is they take your fine, the court costs, your probation fees, the attorney's fees, and they divide it by the number of months that you're on probation. And then it comes up to $195 a month. So that's what you're paying for. Do you understand that?
you don't understand?
Okay. Now, do you accept the state's offer or do you not?
I do accept.
Okay. All right. Now, even with the, once you're on probation, you can talk to your probation officer about programs that they have regarding community service, okay? Now, the court is going to follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Ms. Ballard, you're going to stand on the X next to your attorney. And what's that? Oh, that's good. Okay, yeah. Okay. You're going to stand on the X next to your attorney. You're going to follow the directions of the clerk. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. Mose. This is cause number 3288870. Case of Style of State of Texas versus Lawrence Mose III. Mr. Mose, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Mose?
I'm doing all right.
That's good, Mr. Mose. You're here represented by your attorney. Well, your attorney of record is Attorney Terrence Allison. However, standing in for Attorney Allison is Attorney Marivius Allen. Does Mr. Allen have your permission to stand in for Mr. Allison?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Allen, what is your announcement in Mr. Mo's case?
We received all the discovery. I think we can resolve this within 45 days. So we can get a reset for them. That'd be perfect.
Give us a 45-day reset. Okay, this case will be reset to July 27th of 2022. Mr. Allen, you can sign for your reset. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go. And Mr. Mose, once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go as well. No. Okay, let me get Mr. Leger. Shane Tyler Leger, would you please come forward? The court is in session in cause number 327-216, cause number 329-361, and cause number 331-248. All three cases are styled the state of Texas versus Shane Tyler Leger. Mr. Leger, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How are you doing, Mr. Leger?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. And Mr. Leger, thanks for being patient with us. Mr. Leger, your attorney in this case is attorney Ryan Matuska. Attorney Matuska is appearing via Zoom. Attorney Matuska, how are you doing?
Morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Mr. Matuska, what is your announcement in Mr. Leger's cases?
Well, Your Honor, I was told by Mr. Kimler and Mr. Leger that Mr. Kimler had been hired on this case.
And he has never filed a motion to substitute.
Okay,
I see here, I have a note back from April the 6th of 2022. And it says that Mr. Kimler will be e-filing a motion to substitute. We have never received that motion to substitute. So technically, well, you still on the case until Mr. Kimler files his motion to substitute.
yes, sir.
Hmm?
I speak to Mr. Kimler all the time. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's not even here. Yeah, we probably need to let him know that he needs to file. And the reason why he probably doesn't know he needs to be here because his name is not on the docket sheet. If once he would have filed his motion to substitute and the court would have signed it, his name would appear on the docket and he would have got notice that your case was set today. So he didn't get notice that your case was set today because he is not currently your attorney of record. He needs to file the motion to substitute. So Mr. Matuska, this case is going to be reset. We'll give a standard 30-day reset. And Mr. Leger, you need to get with Mr. Kimler to remind him that he needs to file a motion to substitute. Mr. Coleman, do you have any objections?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Leger, would you please stand on the 4X? And once you get your reset, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Martinez.
What? Oh, okay. Okay. Next case is cause number 330820, case of style of state of Texas versus Celso Martinez. Mr. Martinez is appearing via Zoom. Mr. Martinez, you can take your mic off of mute. Celso Martinez. Mr. Martinez, you can take your mic off of mute. Yeah, you must have stepped away. Okay, we'll come back to him. Mr. Martinez, this is Celso Martinez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Martinez, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Now, this is cause number 330820, the state of Texas versus Celso Martinez. Mr. Martinez, your attorney of record is attorney Charles McIntosh. And I have before me a motion to withdraw as attorney of record that was filed for Mr. McIntosh. And just basically, Mr. McIntosh, he states in his motion that he says that I am legal counsel representing the defendant in the above entitled and numbered cause. I am leaving Texas and moving to Montana and will be unable to provide sufficient legal counsel to my client. I am seeking permission to withdraw as attorney, to withdraw as counsel for the defendant and wish to be relieved of any future professional obligation and responsibility of duty to the defendant. And that's signed by Charles McIntosh, attorney in record. Now, your attorney is seeking to withdraw because he's moving out of state. Do you have any objections to Mr. McIntosh withdrawing as your attorney?
No, sir. He made me aware of the situation about a month ago.
Okay, now, Mr. Martinez, the court, since you had, first of all, the court is going to sign this motion to withdraw, so Mr. McIntosh is relieved of any representation of you in this case.
All right, yes, sir.
And at this time, the court is going to appoint the next attorney as Joel Vasquez. So Joel Vasquez will be your new attorney. And now Mr. Vasquez is going to be given the information on how to contact you. And let me do this here before I get you off. I'm going to